The first thing I noticed was the dinosaur decal, a green T-Rex with cartoonish eyes staring at me from what used to be my bedroom wall. My fingers traced the fresh blue paint beneath it, still detecting the familiar texture of the cream wallpaper my mother and I had chosen together when I was 16. I'm Alexis, and this was supposed to be a surprise weekend visit to my childhood home. Instead, I got the surprise. "Oh, I didn't expect you today." Carmen's voice carried that artificial sweetness that made my teeth ache. She appeared in the doorway, wearing yoga pants and one of my father's old college sweatshirts. "We've been making some changes. Leighton needed a proper room, you understand." My childhood bed was gone. The antique vanity my grandmother left me disappeared. Even my debate team trophies had vanished from the shelves. In their place stood a rocket ship bookcase filled with children's books and action figures. "Where are my things?" I kept my voice steady, the way I do in court when opposing counsel throws a curveball. "Storage unit on 5th Street. I kept the important stuff, of course." Carmen waved her hand dismissively. "But honestly, a grown woman doesn't need all that sentimental junk taking up space. Leighton's a growing boy. He needs room to play." Heavy footsteps in the hallway announced my father's arrival. "Alexis, honey, we didn't know you were coming." He wouldn't meet my eyes, instead focusing on a spot just past my shoulder. "Clearly." I turned to face him. "Dad, where's Mum's vanity?" Carmen thought. "I sold it," Carmen cut in, "along with some other outdated pieces. That Victorian stuff was making the house look like a museum. We're trying to create a modern family space here." My chest tightened. "You sold my grandmother's vanity?" "Oh, don't be dramatic. I got good money for it. 3,000 on Facebook Marketplace. You can buy something nice for your own place with your share." I felt the blood drain from my face. "That vanity wasn't yours to sell." "Well, it was in our house," Carmen said, emphasizing the "our. "And we needed to make room for Leighton's gaming setup. Speaking of which..." She turned to my father. "Carson, honey, can you help me move that old dresser out of here tomorrow? The one with all the scratches?" My mother's dresser, the one where she kept her jewellery, her letters, her memories. "Dad?" I waited for him to speak up, to say something, anything. He shuffled his feet. "Maybe we should discuss this over coffee. Carmen makes an excellent..." "No." I cut him off, my voice ice cold. "I don't want coffee." "Alexis?" Carmen stepped closer, placing her hand on my arm. I resisted the urge to shake it off. "I know change is hard, but you have to understand. This is our home now. You're always welcome to visit, but..." "But what?" "But you need to accept that things are different now. Your mother's been gone for 3 years. Life moves on." Behind her, my father nodded weakly, like a puppet on loose strings. I looked around the room one last time. The walls that once held my concert posters now displayed cartoon dinosaurs. The corner where I'd spent countless nights studying was occupied by a child's desk covered in crayon marks. Every trace of my childhood, of my mother, had been erased. "You're right," I said finally, surprising them both with my calm tone. "Things are different now." I walked out without another word, ignoring Carmen's satisfied smile and my father's attempt to call me back. In my car, I sat for a moment staring at the house, my mother's house. She'd known this might happen. That's why she'd made me promise to read the will carefully, to understand every clause, especially the one about what would happen if my father remarried. I pulled out my phone and opened my messages, found Erin's name, my lawyer, my mother's friend, the keeper of that particular clause. "Time to talk about enforcement," I typed, then hit send. My phone buzzed immediately with her response. "Come to my office first thing Monday. Bring the photos you just took." I smiled, remembering the quick pictures I'd snapped of the room while Carmen was talking. 3 years of law school and 5 years of practice had taught me to always document everything. Carmen wanted to play house. Fine. But she'd forgotten the most important rule of real estate: always check who's on the deed. I started my car, catching one last glimpse of my father's figure in the window. He raised his hand in a weak wave, but I didn't wave back. Instead, I pulled away from the curb, already mentally preparing my case. Some people might call it revenge. I called it justice. It's all here in black and white. Erin spread the will across her desk, her manicured nail pointing to the crucial paragraph. Upon remarriage, Carson's right of residency is terminated, and full control of the property reverts to you, Alexis. I leaned forward in my chair, reading the words I'd memorized years ago. And there's no way around it. None? Erin's lips curved into a slight smile. Your mother was very thorough. She had me revise this clause 4 times before she was satisfied. My cousin Lexi, who joined us for the meeting, whistled low. Aunt Sarah was always 10 steps ahead, but Alexis, are you sure you want to do this? Evicting your own father? He stopped being my father the moment he let Carmen sell Mum's things. I pulled out my phone, showing them the photos I'd taken. Look at what they've done to my room, and that's just the beginning. Erin's expression darkened as she swiped through the pictures. These items were specifically listed in the will's inventory. Carmen had no right to sell them. I've been tracking her sales online, Lexi added, pulling up several Facebook Marketplace listings on her tablet. The vanity, Mum's antique mirror, even the Persian rug from the dining room. She's made nearly $20,000 selling your inheritance. That's theft, Erin said flatly. We can add it to the complaint. I stood up, pacing the office. I don't want to just sue them. I want them out. Alexis, Erin's voice softened. This will get ugly. The media loves family drama, especially when it involves property. Are you prepared for that? Carmen's already making it ugly. Yesterday she told the neighbours that I'm unstable and can't let go of the past. I laughed bitterly. As if wanting to preserve my mother's memory makes me crazy. Lexi's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and frowned. Speaking of crazy, Carmen just listed more furniture. Your mother's writing desk is up for $1,200. My hands clenched into fists. That's where Mom wrote all her letters to me when I was at college. Wait. Erin held up her hand, studying her computer screen. Something's not adding up here. Alexis, did you ever review the house's escrow accounts after your mother passed? No, Dad handled all that. Why? Because I'm looking at the records now, and there were significant cash withdrawals in the months following Sarah's death. Money that was specifically set aside for property maintenance. Lexi peered over Erin's shoulder. That's around the time Carmen showed up, right? 2 months after Mum died, I confirmed. Dad met her at a grief support group. Some support, Lexi muttered. Erin printed several pages and handed them to me. Review these tonight. If what I'm seeing is correct, we might have more than just a property dispute on our hands. I scanned the numbers, my legal training kicking in. These withdrawals, they're just under the amount that would trigger automatic reporting. Exactly. Erin's eyes met mine. Your mother left plenty of money for house maintenance, money that seems to have vanished right when Carmen entered the picture. And now she's selling my inheritance piece by piece. I stood up, gathering the documents. How soon can we move on this? I can have the eviction notice ready by Friday. But Alexis... Erin hesitated. Once we start this, there's no going back. Your relationship with your father was destroyed the moment he chose her over Mum's memory. I squared my shoulders. File the papers. Lexi touched my arm. I'll keep tracking the sales. And I've got a friend at the county recorder's office who can pull any property documents Carmen might have filed. Good. I checked my watch. I should go. I have court at 2. As I reached the door, Erin called out, Alexis, your mother once told me something about that house. She said it wasn't just walls and furniture. It was proof that a woman could build something lasting, something that couldn't be taken away. I felt tears prick at my eyes, but blinked them back. Then let's make sure she was right. Walking to my car, I noticed a text from Carmen. Leighton loves his new room. Hope you understand it's for the best. Family dinner on Sunday. Family dinner. As if erasing my existence could be smoothed over with pot roast and small talk. I typed back, can't make it, but hold on to those dinner plates. You might need them packed soon. Then I blocked her number and called Violet, my best friend. "Hey, want to help me document every item in my mother's house this weekend? Bring your camera." "Carmen drama?" Violet asked. "Let's just say—" I started my car, glancing at the legal documents on my passenger seat. The house is about to get a lot less crowded. "Just need to grab a few boxes from my old closet," I told Carmen with a practiced smile. "Won't take long." She blocked the doorway, arms crossed. "I thought we sent everything to storage." "Not everything." I held up my court order. "And as co-owner of the property, I have the right to inspect any room." Carmen's face tightened, but she stepped aside. The sound of power tools echoed from downstairs. The contractor she'd hired was working on something in the living room. "Fine, but make it quick. Leighton has friends coming over." I climbed the stairs to my old room, now Leighton's dinosaur kingdom. The boy himself sat on the floor, playing with action figures. "Hi, Alexis," he looked up, grinning. "Want to see my T-Rex collection?" Before Carmen could stop him, I sat cross-legged beside him. "Sure, buddy. Tell me about them." "This one's a velociraptor and this—" "Leighton," Carmen cut in sharply, "go help your father in the garden." After he left, I opened the closet, pretending to search while actually photographing everything. Behind some boxes, I spotted my mother's old filing cabinet. "What's this still doing here?" I pulled it out. Carmen shrugged. "Just junk papers. We're having it removed next week." I opened the top drawer, finding exactly what I'd hoped for, Mom's meticulous financial records. "Mind if I take these, for nostalgia?" "Whatever." Carmen checked her phone, clearly bored. "I need to check on the contractor. Don't take all day up here." The moment she left, I started scanning documents with my phone. Bank statements, receipts, and, jackpot, records of withdrawals from the house maintenance fund, all with my father's forged signature. A knock on the doorframe made me jump. A tall man in work clothes stood there, tool belt slung low on his hips. "Sorry to startle you. I'm Brian, the contractor. Mrs. Dunn asked me to check the window in here for replacement." "It's Ms. Clayton, actually," I corrected him. "And I'm Alexis, the owner's daughter." His eyebrows rose. "Owner's daughter? Carmen told me she and her husband owned the place." "Did she now?" I smiled, an idea forming. "Actually, Brian, I'd love your professional opinion on some of these renovation plans." We spent the next 20 minutes discussing potential changes, my voice deliberately carrying downstairs. As expected, Carmen appeared, her face a mask of forced pleasantness. "Brian, I need you downstairs now." "Just a minute," he said. "Alexis was showing me some interesting ideas for the master suite." Carmen's eyes narrowed. "The master suite isn't up for renovation." "No?" I innocently held up my phone. "But I have the contractor's quote right here. 40,000 for a complete remodel. That's quite an investment in someone else's house." Brian looked between us, confusion clear on his face. "Someone else's—" "Don't you have work to do?" Carmen snapped at him. After he left, she turned to me. "What game are you playing?" "Game? I'm just taking an interest in my property." I tucked the files under my arm. "By the way, how's that boutique of yours doing? The one you opened with my mother's maintenance fund?" The colour drained from her face. "I don't know what you're talking about." "No, the withdrawals all coincide with your store's opening dates. Interesting timing." "Those were legitimate expenses." "For your business, or for the fake lease agreement you filed with the city?" She stepped closer, voice low. "Listen carefully. Your father and I have lived here for 3 years. We've established residency. If you try anything, we'll claim squatters' rights." I laughed. "Is that what your lawyer told you? The same one who helped you forge Dad's signature on that lease?" "You can't prove anything. Want to bet?" I headed for the stairs, then paused. "Oh, and Carmen, those dinosaur decals? They'll leave marks when you peel them off. You might want to start soon. You entitled little—" "Careful," I warned. "Threats could affect your future housing applications. You'll need a clean record for your next rental." Downstairs, I found Brian measuring a doorframe. "Hey," I said quietly. "How'd you like to make some extra money documenting everything you've seen here?" He glanced toward Carmen's voice upstairs. Including the unauthorized modifications? Especially those. He pulled out his phone. I've got photos of all the work orders, some with different signatures on them. I handed him my card. Call me tomorrow, and Brian, if Carmen asks, we were just flirting. Outside I called Erin. Remember that fake lease we suspected? Just found proof, and wait until you see what else was in Mum's filing cabinet. Good, she replied, because Carmen just tried to file for adverse possession. She really doesn't know who she's dealing with, does she? No, I said, watching Carmen's silhouette pace behind my old bedroom window, but she's about to find out. Mum, you need to eat something. I pushed the bowl of soup closer to her hospital bed. It was 3 years ago, but the memory feels like yesterday. In a minute, sweetheart. She was focused on the papers spread across her lap, her once steady hands now trembling as she marked sections with a highlighter. Erin's bringing the final draft of the will today. We need to make sure everything's perfect. The house will still be there next week. I tried to sound optimistic, even though we both knew better. She looked up, her eyes sharp despite the illness that was consuming her. Alexis, listen to me. Your father, he's a good man, but he's weak, always has been. When I'm gone... Mum, please! When I'm gone, she continued firmly, he'll look for someone to lean on, and that someone might not have your best interests at heart. I remember how the autumn sunlight streamed through the window, casting long shadows across her hospital bed, how the morphine drip kept steady time with the beeping monitors. The house is your inheritance, she said, not just the building. Everything I built there, everything we built together. Don't let anyone take that from you. A knock interrupted us. Violet stood in the doorway holding fresh flowers. Bad time. Never for you, Mum smiled. Come help me convince this daughter of mine that I'm not being paranoid. Violet sat on the edge of the bed. About the house. About making sure it's protected. Mum handed me the papers. Read the residency clause again. I did, out loud. Carson Dunn may remain in residence until such time as he remarries, at which point full control and ownership reverts solely to Alexis Dunn. Your mother's a genius, Violet said. I'm a realist. Mom reached for my hand. Promise me you'll stand your ground when the time comes. Promise me you won't let guilt cloud your judgment. What do you mean? Your father will try to make you feel guilty. He'll say I was being unfair, that I didn't trust him, but this isn't about trust, it's about protection. The memory shifts to later that night, after Violet left. Mum was dozing, and Dad came in with coffee. The lawyers were here again? He asked, noticing the papers. Just finalising some things. He sighed. She doesn't need to worry about all this now. The house will still be our home, no matter what. Our home, not my home, not Mom's legacy. The scene dissolves into another memory, 2 months after the funeral. Dad introducing Carmen at the grocery store, her sympathetic smile not quite reaching her eyes. Your father's told me so much about you, she'd said, squeezing his arm. We met at grief counselling. Such a blessing to find each other during such a difficult time. My phone buzzes, pulling me back to the present. I'm sitting in my apartment, surrounded by the files from Mum's cabinet. Violet's calling. You okay? She asks. You've been quiet in the group chat all day. Just remembering Mum's last weeks, the warning she tried to give me. She saw this coming, Violet says softly. Not Carmen specifically, but someone like her. I found Mum's journals in the filing cabinet, I tell her. She wrote about Dad's pattern of letting stronger personalities make his decisions. Even during their marriage, she was the one who had to protect their assets. And now you're doing the same thing. But what if, I hesitate, what if this makes me the villain, throwing my father out of his home? Stop! Violet's voice turns stern. It's not his home. It never was. Your mother built that house with her inheritance, her work. She left it to you for a reason. Carmen's already telling people I'm being cruel. Carmen's telling people a lot of things, including that she owns the house, which is worse, being called cruel or letting your mother's legacy be erased. I look at the photo on my wall, Mum and me in front of the house on my college graduation day. Her proud smile, her arm around my shoulders. You're right. I straighten my spine. Mum didn't worry about looking cruel when she protected me. She didn't let guilt stop her from doing what was necessary. Exactly. Violet pauses. By the way, Brian the contractor called me. Says he has recordings of Carmen planning to claim squatters' rights. Want them? Send everything to Erin. I start gathering the files. It's time to show Carmen exactly what kind of protection my mother built into that will. That's my girl. Violet's smile is audible. Your mum would be proud. After we hang up, I touch the photo on the wall. I won't let you down, I whisper. I promise. The next morning, I wake up to news that Carmen's trying to list the house for sale. She doesn't know it yet, but she just made her biggest mistake. Mum's voice echoes in my memory. Stand your ground. And that's exactly what I plan to do. The cease and desist letter arrived at the house by courier on a Tuesday morning. I watched from my parked car as Carmen signed for it, her face shifting from annoyance to panic as she read the contents. My phone buzzed with her incoming call. I declined it, then watched her pace the front porch, frantically dialing someone else, probably her lawyer. Brian, the contractor, texted me. She's freaking out, just ordered me to stop all renovation work. Keep your phone recording, I replied. Document everything. Through the window, I could see Carmen gesturing wildly while talking on the phone. Dad's car pulled into the driveway, and she practically pounced on him the moment he stepped out. My phone buzzed again, this time with a text from Lexi. You won't believe this. Carmen's trying to list the house for sale. $1.2 million. I just saw it pop up on the MLS. I forwarded the listing to Erin, who responded immediately. Perfect. That's fraud. Adding it to the file. Carmen was still arguing with Dad on the porch when a familiar Mercedes pulled up. Violet stepped out, dressed for battle in her real estate agent power suit. Right on time, I muttered, watching Carmen's face as Violet approached the house. Hi, Violet's voice carried clearly across the lawn. I'm here for the showing. The property just listed, and I have a very interested buyer. Carmen's mouth opened and closed like a fish. We're not ready for showings yet. Oh, Violet pulled out her tablet. But the listing says immediate showings welcome. My client is very interested in the original hardwood floors and period details. Mind if we take a look? We need to reschedule, Dad started, but Carmen cut him off. Of course we can show it. Her voice was too bright, too brittle. Just give us an hour to tidy up. Perfect. Violet smiled sweetly. I'll be back at 11. Oh, and I'll need to see the seller's disclosure and proof of ownership. Standard procedure. I could practically see Carmen's wheels turning as she realised her mistake. She'd listed a house she had no right to sell. My phone lit up with a text from Brian. She's in the study, shredding papers. Get photos if you can, I replied. An hour later, I walked into my mother's house behind Violet, playing the role of her client. Carmen had changed into a designer dress, her smile fixed and desperate. The original owners took such care with the historic details, she was saying, leading us through the foyer. My husband and I have maintained everything exactly as it was. Except for the antique vanity you sold last week, I asked innocently. And the Persian rug? And my mother's writing desk? Carmen's smile cracked. Alexis, I didn't realise you were the potential buyer. Oh, I'm not buying. I handed her an envelope. But I am serving you with court papers, fraud, theft and illegal sale of inherited property, plus attempting to sell a house you don't own. This is our house. Carmen's voice rose. We've lived here for 3 years. Living somewhere doesn't make it yours, Violet said, dropping her fake cheerfulness. And listing property you don't own is fraud. Carson, Carmen screamed, do something. Dad emerged from his study, looking defeated. Carmen, we need to talk. The lawyer called. The will. There's a clause. I don't care about clauses. She turned to me, tears starting. "You can't do this. We're family." Family? I walked to the living room wall where my mother's favourite painting used to hang. Family doesn't sell inheritance without permission. Family doesn't forge signatures on fake leases. Family doesn't erase memories. Those were just old things. They were my mother's things. I turned to Dad. "And you let her do it. You stood by and watched her erase Mom from her own house." He couldn't meet my eyes. "I just wanted peace." "Well, now you'll have it." I gestured to the papers in Carmen's hands. "Just not here." Carmen ripped open the envelope, her face going pale as she read. "This is— You're evicting us?" "No, I'm reclaiming what's legally mine. You have 30 days. "You bitch!" She lunged forward, but Violet stepped between us. "Careful," Violet warned. "Assault charges won't help your case." I walked to the front door, then turned back. "Oh, and Carmen? The party you're hosting here this weekend? Cancel it. This house isn't yours to show off anymore." Outside, my hands were shaking, but my voice was steady as I called Erin. "It's done," I said. She took the bait with the listing, and Brian got photos of her destroying evidence. "Perfect," Erin replied. "The judge will love that. Ready for the next phase?" I looked up at my mother's house, my house, and smiled. "Absolutely ready." Behind me, I could hear Carmen's hysterical voice through the open window. "She can't do this to us, but I could, and I would, for Mom." The mediation room felt too small for the amount of tension it contained. Carmen sat across the table, her lawyer whispering urgently in her ear. Dad slumped beside them, looking older than I'd ever seen him. "Let's review the facts," the mediator began. "The property in question was left to Alexis, with a conditional residency clause for her father that terminated upon his remarriage. Is this correct?" "Yes," Erin confirmed, spreading out documents. "We also have evidence of unauthorized sale of inherited items, financial misconduct, and attempted property fraud." Carmen's lawyer leaned forward. "My client was acting under the assumption—" "Your client filed a fake lease agreement," Erin cut in, sliding over more papers. "With a forged signature. Would you like to explain that?" "I never forged anything," Carmen's voice cracked. "Carson signed it." Dad's head snapped up. "What? I never signed a lease." "The handwriting analysis confirms that," Erin said smoothly. "Along with the forged signatures on bank withdrawals totaling over $50,000. The mediator frowned. "These are serious allegations." "I have proof." I nodded to Erin, who produced Brian's documentation. The contractor recorded everything, including Mrs. Clayton's plans to claim squatters' rights and sell property she didn't own. Carmen's lawyer whispered something to her again, but she shoved him away. "This is ridiculous. We made that house a home." "By selling my mother's belongings?" I kept my voice level. "By erasing every trace of her?" "She was dead!" Carmen slammed her hand on the table. "Dead people don't need things." The room fell silent. Even her lawyer looked shocked. "No," I said quietly, "but their daughters do." Dad finally spoke, his voice rough. "Carmen, did you really forge my signature?" "I did it for us." She grabbed his arm. "To build our future. That house was wasted on her memory." "That's enough." The mediator interrupted. "Given the evidence, I recommend you accept the 30-day eviction notice. Fighting this will only lead to criminal charges." Carmen's lawyer nodded. "He's right. Take the deal." "Deal?" Carmen laughed hysterically. "She's throwing us out. Where will we go? What about Leighton?" "You should have thought about that before you started selling stolen property," Erin replied. Dad turned to me, eyes pleading. "Alexis, honey, can we talk, privately?" I hesitated, then nodded. We stepped into the hallway, leaving Carmen's increasingly loud protest behind. "I'm sorry," he said immediately. "I should have stopped her. After your mother died, I couldn't handle anything. Carmen seemed so capable." "Capable of theft?" He flinched. "I didn't know about the forgeries or the sales, I swear." "But you knew she was erasing, Mum. You watched her do it." "I was weak." His shoulders sagged. Your mother always said that about me, that I let stronger personalities make my decisions. A memory flashed, Mom in her hospital bed warning me about exactly this. Dad, read the will sometime, I said. Really read it. Mum knew this would happen. She tried to protect both of us. From what? From people who take advantage of your grief, and from you letting them. Back in the mediation room, Carmen was having a full meltdown. "This is all your fault," she screamed at me. "You spoiled, entitled—" "Mrs. Clayton," the mediator warned, "control yourself." "You want control?" Carmen grabbed her purse. "Fine, here's control." She pulled out her phone, jabbing at it frantically. "I just transferred the money from our joint account. Good luck paying rent without it." Dad went pale. "What?" "Oh, now you care," she laughed. "I've been managing your money for 3 years. Everything's in my name." Erin smiled thinly. "Actually, that's perfect. Financial abuse and admitted theft, all on record. Shall we add that to the criminal complaints?" Carmen's lawyer dropped his head into his hands. 30 days, I said, standing up, "and I want a full inventory of everything you sold." "You'll regret this," Carmen hissed. "No." I gathered my things. "But you will." In the parking lot, Dad caught up to me. "What am I supposed to do now?" "Find an apartment, start over." I paused. "And maybe get a good divorce lawyer." "Alexis." He looked lost. "Your mother would be disappointed in me." "Probably," I agreed. "But she loved you anyway. That's why she put that clause in the will. She knew you'd need saving from yourself." As I drove away, I saw Carmen storming out of the building, Dad trailing behind her like a shadow. My phone buzzed with a news alert. Local boutique owner under investigation for financial fraud. Karma, it seemed, was just getting started. I touched the small photo of Mum I kept on my dashboard. "Almost done," I whispered. "Almost home." The sheriff's deputy stood on the front porch, clipboard in hand, while Carmen made her final performance. She was sprawled across the couch, hand pressed to her forehead. "I'm too ill to move," she moaned. "My blood pressure." "Ma'am," the deputy said tiredly, "the eviction notice was served 30 days ago. We have to proceed." I watched from my car across the street as 2 moving trucks pulled up. Violet sat beside me, squeezing my hand. "You don't have to watch this," she said softly. "Yes, I do." Dad emerged from the house carrying boxes, his movements mechanical. Behind him, Leighton dragged his feet, clutching a dinosaur toy. "The boy's the only innocent one here," I murmured. "You can't punish yourself for Carmen's choices," Violet reminded me. Inside the house, Carmen's wails grew louder. "This is illegal! I have rights!" The deputy consulted his papers. "According to the court order, you have no legal right to this property. Please collect your belongings and vacate the premises." I stepped out of the car as Carmen was finally escorted outside. She spotted me and lunged forward, but the deputy caught her arm. "You vindictive bitch!" she screamed. "You're just like your mother, cold, controlling. Don't!" My voice cut through her tirade. "Don't say her name." "Or what? She's dead, dead and gone, and you're living in the past." Leighton started crying, and something in me snapped. I walked over to him, kneeling to his level. "Hey, buddy," I said gently. "I know this is scary, but you know what? Change can be an adventure too." Carmen tried to pull him away, but he resisted. "Will I still have dinosaurs in the new house?" "Tell you what." I reached into my bag and pulled out a small gift-wrapped package. "This is for you. Open it later, okay?" Carmen snatched it from his hands. "We don't need your charity." "It's not charity," I said, standing. "It's his inheritance, the only one you didn't sell." The package contained my old T-Rex model, the one Mum had given me when I was scared of starting middle school. "Sometimes," she'd said, "being fierce is the kindest thing you can be." The movers worked efficiently, loading furniture and boxes. I noticed they handled Carmen's designer clothes with less care than she'd shown my mother's antiques. Dad approached me hesitantly. "Alexis." "Save it." I turned away, but he grabbed my arm. "Please, there's something you should see in your old room." Against my better judgment, I followed him upstairs. The dinosaur decals were half peeled off, leaving sticky residue on the blue walls. Dad went to the old dresser, the last piece of my mother's furniture Carmen hadn't managed to sell. "I kept this hidden," he said, pulling out a letter from behind the drawer. "Your mother wrote it the week before she—" My hands trembled as I took the envelope. Inside was a photo of me at 8 years old, sitting on the porch steps with Mom, both of us laughing at something long forgotten. "Read it later," Dad said, "when you're ready." A crash from downstairs made us both jump. Carmen's voice rose again. "That vase is worth more than your yearly salary. Be careful." "Time's up," the deputy called. "Vehicle's waiting." I walked Dad to the door, where Carmen was having her final meltdown. "This isn't over," she shrieked at me. "I'll sue, "You'll what?" I stepped closer. "Forge more documents, steal more memories, face more fraud charges." She fell silent, finally understanding the depth of her defeat. "Get in the car, Carmen," Dad said quietly. "Please." As they drove away, Leighton pressed his face against the window, clutching the wrapped package. I waved, and he waved back until they turned the corner. The deputy handed me the keys. "Property's yours, ma'am. Good luck." Inside, the house felt hollow. Empty picture hooks lined the walls where family photos once hung. Rectangular clean spots marked where furniture had protected the carpet from sun fade. I climbed the stairs to my old room and sat on the bare mattress, the only piece of furniture I'd kept there. The letter from Dad felt heavy in my pocket. Violet found me there an hour later, tears streaming down my face. "Oh, honey," she said, sitting beside me. "Mom knew," I whispered, showing her the letter. "She knew Dad would choose wrong again. That's why she made me promise to be strong enough for both of us." Through the window, I watched the sun set on my first day home. Really home. The house felt like a museum now, filled with ghosts of what was and shadows of what could have been. But it was mine, just like Mom wanted, just like she planned. "The Sarah Dunn Women's Recovery Centre," Violet read from the freshly mounted plaque. "Your mum would love this." I adjusted the sign slightly. She always said this house was meant to help people start over. The renovation crew had worked miracles. The living room, once stuffed with Carmen's gaudy furniture, now held comfortable couches and support group circles. My old bedroom had become a counselling office, its walls painted a soothing sage green. "First resident arrives today?" Violet asked. "Any minute." I checked my watch. Erin's bringing her from the courthouse. The doorbell rang. On the porch stood a woman about my age, clutching a small duffel bag. Her eye was still slightly bruised. "I'm Maria," she said quietly. "The lawyer said—" "Welcome home." I opened the door wide. "Let me show you around." As we walked through the house, Maria's shoulders gradually relaxed. In the kitchen, where Mum had taught me to bake, I poured coffee while explaining the house rules. "Stay as long as you need," I told her. "That's what this place is for." My phone buzzed. A news alert. Carmen's fraud trial had ended. Guilty on all counts. She'd been running similar schemes for years, targeting grieving widowers, draining their accounts. "Everything okay?" Violet asked, noting my expression. "Justice served," I showed her the alert. "Dad's testimony sealed it." Speaking of Dad, I heard his familiar knock. He stood on the porch, looking uncertain. "The garden needs attention," he said, gesturing to Mum's overgrown flower beds. I thought maybe... I handed him a pair of gardening gloves. "Roses need pruning." We worked in comfortable silence until he spoke. "I found an apartment. Small, but it's mine. No joint accounts this time." "Good." I deadheaded a rose bush. "And the divorce?" "Final next week." He paused. "Carmen's sister called. Leighton asks about you." I pulled out the business card I'd been carrying. "There's a great dinosaur exhibit at the museum, if he's interested." Dad took the card, smiling slightly. "You're more forgiving than I deserve." "Not forgiving," I corrected. "Understanding. Mum taught me the difference." A car pulled up, Lexi with supplies for the centre. As she unloaded boxes, I caught Dad watching the house's transformation. "Different than you expected?" I asked. "Better?" He touched the new plaque. "Sarah would be proud. She always said you were stronger than me." "She said I was stronger than both of us." I handed him another rosebush to plant, but she loved us anyway. Inside, I heard Maria laughing at something Violet said. The sound echoed through rooms once filled with Carmen's artificial cheer, now warming with genuine healing. My phone buzzed again. Brian, the contractor. "Found something behind the wall in the master bath. Looks like your mum left a surprise." I rushed upstairs. Brian pointed to a small safe embedded in the wall, exposed during renovation. "Combination?" he asked. "Try 31785, I said. My birthday. The safe clicked open. Inside lay a velvet jewellery box and another letter. The pearl necklace Mom wore at her wedding gleamed against dark fabric. The letter was dated 1 week before she died. "My dearest Alexis," it began, "if you're reading this, you've reclaimed our home, not just the building, our legacy. The pearls aren't valuable, but they're real, like you, like your strength." Violet found me crying in the bathroom. "Oh God, what now?" I showed her the letter's final lines. "The house isn't your inheritance, darling. Your inheritance is knowing you can protect what matters, even when it hurts, even when others call you cruel. Your inheritance is your strength. Use it to help others find theirs. All my love, Mum." Downstairs, Maria was arranging family photos on her dresser. Dad was teaching Lexi Mom's secret for keeping roses blooming into fall. The house hummed with new purpose. I fastened Mum's pearls around my neck and walked through rooms now filled with second chances. In the foyer, the afternoon sun caught the plaque just right, making it glow. "Ready for the house blessing?" Violet asked, sage bundle in hand. "Almost." I touched the pearls. Just remembering something Mum used to say. A house is just walls until you fill it with healing. Through the window, I watched another car pull up, another woman with a small bag, another chance to help someone reclaim their strength. I opened the door wide. "Welcome home," I said. And somewhere I swear I heard Mum whisper, "Well done, baby, well done."